Nobody is going to save you now.
Stupid fool, you're forcing me to kill you!
What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast. I'm M.A.N.G.A.
What up? It's Kento.
And we are back with Tangential Tie-ins. Tonight we are revisiting a topic that we have been dying to get back to, and we are taking another look at the best swordsmen inside of anime and manga. If you have not seen the first iteration of this conversation, I will put the link down in the description for you because that was an incredible conversation as well. It is just me and Kiko tonight. The other two are all tied up, but this is kind of
It's our thing now, right?
Yeah.
It's how we did it last time.
Right, yeah, because last time we didn't have Eagle and Nick wasn't a part of the team yet. So, because this is the Best Swordsman Part 1 was a long time ago.
Old. I didn't even remember all the people we brought up. I was asking, like, who'd you bring up last time?
I went back through and I double checked just to make sure that I didn't like throw any repeats out. I think that you should be fine too, because I feel like last conversation we basically talked about like most of all of like the heavy hitters that you would expect to hear from, with a couple obscure picks kind of like peppered in throughout. So this time we're gonna get back in the bag, but hopefully we can give representation to some of the lesser known swordsmen that are definitely still worth noting. I definitely have a couple on my list that aren't as popular but still goats in their own right. Before we get into the discussion tonight, of course, we would like you to take a look at the description down below. That is going to be where you see us on all of our other social media platforms, individual and community based around Project Manga. So check us out there. You'll also see links to where you can listen to the podcast on other audio only platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. And there's also ways to support Project Manga down in the description if you feel so inclined, including our Patreon, which is going to give you a slew of perks dedicated to you for extra lines of content. Early access to all of our content is included inside of that package, as well as additional manga reviews. We have a book club, and we also have a second weekly Shonen Jump review podcast that is Patreon exclusive that covers the other half of Jump that we don't have on our main YouTube show. So getting into the topic at hand, Best Swordsman Part Dos. Do you want to start the conversation off? Who should we talk about tonight first?
Yeah, sure. It was wild to me. I did kind of scan through the last episode too, kind of trying to make sure I did it, but it's like I didn't listen to the whole two hours.
It was almost 2 hours. There was a couple of the picks where we talked about them for like 35, 45 minutes. Like,
it went crazy.
Couldn't help it.
It was amazing to me that we didn't talk about Champloo. So like,
I was thinking the same thing.
So let's run it with Mugen. I mean, Mugen is so cold-blooded. He's one of the tightest swordsmen ever, just in anything I've ever seen.
Right.
Just because his fighting style, super unorthodox, doesn't have a name for the style. It was like dubbed Champloo Kenjutsu just because of his style, which included, like breakdancing and just wild, erratic movements that aren't able to be read, like the last main fight of the series against Kadia, the Hand of God.
The Hand of God,
and Mugen's just swinging crazy, jumping, flying around, and he's
kicking like hay at him and shit too. There are like hay bales on like a flatbed. Well, not a flatbed because it's like back in the day, but like a band.
One of them carts, a little wagon.
One of the wooden carts. There was a bunch of hay. I remember that. That shit was so fucking sick because that's the one that he's the one with the sun hat. And he's the samurai who smells of sunflowers, right? Or no?
No, he's not. No, that's Fu's dad.
Yeah, that's Fu's dad. So this is the one this is the last one he fights like by the pier, like by the water, and then like Mugen tries to get him, gets scraped, and then Jin tries to go get him and also gets his shit pushed in.
Yep. And so Kadia even says like, man, your style is wild. Like, I can't really tell what's going on until like the very last second. Even, and since he's such a cold-blooded samurai, he's still like pairing his shit, but he's just like, man, this is a pretty fucking crazy style. It's not gonna be good enough to beat me, but I can see how you've been so formidable against everybody you faced up into this time, and it just was really like, it's just really cool to see, just modern, stuff like implemented in this series. Like Champloo is, I still think it's my favorite like 2-season anime ever.
Yeah.
Just
26 episoder.
Hits hits and resonates. You know, you got fucking all the, you know, b-boy shit just included. You got graffiti, you got breakdancing, you got beatboxing, you got
lo-fi in the background, like, you know what I'm saying?
In the back. Nujabe's the goat, you know,
yes,
like,
R.I.P.
you know, yeah, definitely. So, like, it was just wild to me that we didn't talk about him last time.
I was thinking about that. I think, like, directly once we got done with the show last time, I think we were talking about it in post, like, we didn't talk about Champloo. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm going into this episode now, and I'm, like, re-listening to the episode, and I'm like, oh, yeah, we didn't talk about Champloo on this fucking episode. So I had Mugen and Jin, too. I was completely blown away by Mugen's character the first time that I saw him. Like when especially like this is like really early in like in my fandom's infancy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like for anime and whatnot. And just like right away, as soon as I saw Mugen character design, instantly I was like, this is my favorite character in anything I've ever seen. He's got a sword, he's light skinned, he got a little bit of afro shit going on here. I don't really know what's going on with that, but my chin hairs were starting to come in back then, like just the way that his was coming in a little bit. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, this is me in an anime. And like just his fighting style was so fucking sick. And like I was like coincidentally like looking into starting like to become a b-boy back then. Like I wanted to get into breakdancing and whatnot. Like I never pressed the button on that. But like just seeing a breakdancing light-skinned swordsman in a fucking like you know feudal era like setting with like modern you know things added to it, like you were kind of getting into a moment ago, and I was just like, how is this literally like, did this creator of this show like read my fucking mind and like make the ultimate main character like for me? Yeah, dude, that shit was so sick.
I'm glad you brought that point up because Mugen is from the Ryukyu Islands, which are all the small little islands that run from Kyushu to Taiwan, which is so like it's tropical climate. Obviously they're very tan, and there's a lot of racism within Japan for those southern islanders, you know, and so like you even get some you know history within Champloo about like that's where they sent their prisoners and stuff to just get rid of them off of Honshu, you know, the mainland, and get them down there and just get them gone, just like throw them, like kind of like, you know, like the British did to, you know, Australia, threw all their you know convicts down there or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty, and that's why like he's got those you know the blue tattoos around his wrist and his ankles that represent shackles because he was born to prisoner parents basically. Like he's just basically born in prison, you know. So that's just, that shit hits so hard.
It does hit, you know what I'm saying? And when I'm younger and I'm like watching anime and I'm starting to like get used to anime and whatnot, I'm like not ready for like deeper themes to be in my cartoons, you know what I'm saying? So like kind of like we were talking about, you know, back in the second looking back at classic anime episode that we did, we were talking about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I talked about like how that series, you know, introduced, you know, agnosticism or atheism, you know, to my cartoon lineup, you know what I'm saying, which was like really fucking crazy for me back then. And
doesn't happen in the West almost
maybe
ever.
I mean they do it in roundabout ways because they know that they have like a certain demographic in the West that, you know, it's big Christianity season over here, you know what I'm saying? So like obviously they might want to tiptoe around that, but it's just it was just so cool, like when I was like growing up and becoming an anime fan, to see like how deep this culture's, or how deep this part of the world's storytelling really gets compared to what I had experienced so far. And I, you know, and I continue reading Western comic books that, you know, are a lot more mature and a lot more complicated, and I started seeing that there are, you know, way deeper themes, you know, than what I had experienced back then in comic books too. But it hit so much harder for anime because it's like I'm so used to, you know, a certain style of media for so long, and then to get introduced to, you know, this Eastern style of media that is just like so visually stunning, and you can just tell that there is so much more budget included or involved or allocated to the animation, so much more attention paid to character designs and the detail of their design, especially going into the fashion aspect of things. And this motherfucker Mugen is dripping like a motherfucker out here in the Meiji era, bro. I swear to God, he's got the fucking, like, it looks like it would be in today. You know what I'm saying? Like what he's wearing would be in today, but it also looks old enough to make sense for that time period.
It's a combo. It's a combo of the Ainu clothing style and just modern clothing style. Like it's a combo because like the Aino people are from Hokkaido, which is the most northern mainland island, but there were Ainu people in like the southern, Ryukyu islands. I don't know, like maybe it's Okinawa or whatever, one of them islands, whatever down there. Yeah. But yeah, so like it's really cool that he like. It's pulling from like multiple like Japanese like subcultures and like meshing them, and it's like really fucking, man, it's one of the best character designs ever. He's got the katana, well, it's not really katana, but he's got his sword on his back. It's like a mixture of
his sword design was another thing that really had me like, whoa, okay, everyone's got katana, but he's got like something that I would get in like Skyrim. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like the fucking hilt and shit is all like it forks out, you know what I'm saying? It's not a regular like, hilt at all.
It's a Okinawan sai mixed with the katana. And what's also super cold-blooded about his sword is that he has the concealable tanto that comes out the bottom.
Yes.
Where he stabs the fucking, like, was it Shoryu, I believe his name is the monk
the
who
monk?
had that,
the
hockey attack or whatever,
Rio,
Rio,
I can't remember his name. I mean, like, I'm just gonna trust you with Shoryu. Oh, Shoryu?
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's right. I think he had another name. Maybe. Yeah, I think he had another name first, and like he moved to that. Well, I don't remember. But that's one of the best episodes of Champloo is Mugen versus that dude. It's so cold blooded. Like that one. Like I remember watching Champloo back on Adult Swim, as we all did probably, and like. Obviously, the first episodes were tight as fuck, but that's like episode 5 or 6, 4, 5 or 6, something like that, real early on. And it's just like when I saw that shit, I was like, "This is the greatest anime I've ever seen in my life." I swear to
God, yeah, dude.
It's like Dragon Ball, who
like this is something I didn't even know I needed from anime. I mean, I just got here, but like I'm used to like martial arts and like energy and like screaming. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's literally in everything else I'd seen up until that point. Yu-Gi-Oh, fucking Dragon Ball, fucking Yu Yu Hakusho. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of fucking screaming and superpowers, and then to get this like grounded, you know what I'm saying? Like more realistic, samurai story. And I don't even think. Well, I mean, I had Kenshin too, but before Samurai Champloo, but still,
that was about it, right? Like,
that was about it. And then
that's like
Afro
super
Samurai came
accurate.
After.
Yeah. And what also is cold-blooded about his style is that he's got the metal laced on the bottom of his Geta sandals that he's using to block while breakdancing.
Yes.
Like, man, how tight is that? Like
you made him honestly, a breakdancer, but then you also like thought like, okay, if he's gonna be breakdancing, like we could probably give him some metal on the bottom of his feet so he can block attacks while breakdancing. And it's like, you're a fucking genius. And before we go a little bit further, I did just get a thought related to the design of Mugen's sword that I wanted to make a point of. When he's fighting the blind chick with the halberd on the bridge, her like sickle that she has, like or not a sickle, but like it is kind of like isn't it like a spear that opens up like a three-way spear thing? Yeah, you're right. It's got the main spear head blade and then like the two like pokier ones like coming out of the bottom of it, perpendicular to the primary blade. So when he's fighting her, you might have to remind me because it's been a while, but was there a moment in the fight where either that woman took advantage of the way that his what is that part of the sword called? I'm fucking drawing a blank right now.
The hilt, bottom?
No, it's in between the hilt and the sword where
I just call it a guard. There's an
guard,
official Japanese name for it.
There is an
but
official
like it's
Japanese
just
name for it. But the guard is it comes out and it's like forked almost. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got like a design where there's a gap between the tendrils of the guard that come out and the blade. And remind me if this woman takes advantage of that with her weapon, or if Mugen takes advantage of that with his sword and like kind of like locks her lance up with the guard, or maybe she clashes with him and then he tries to pull his sword back and she's like, no, give me that. I can't remember exactly what it was.
It's something like that. I don't remember exactly. Like, maybe like just the way she like twists her spear to like make him lose the grip on his because of it. Something like that. I don't remember exactly either. But yeah, I mean, I'm due for a rewatch on that.
I swear now that we're talking about it. I'm just like,
so hard body, definitely.
But the point that I was making though is that like I had never seen, like, because I'm so new to these stylized, high, intensely choreographed fight scenes, like I like don't know if I had seen, in cartoon action choreography, someone, hook their weapon inside the guard of someone's sword and like yank it out, and like that's something that's relatively common, you know what I'm saying, in sword fighting stories. But I had just never seen that before, and I was just like, there were so many new stimuli like in my, you know, cartoon watching, you know, like life that I was like, this is literally peak fiction.
It's just like, is there any anime that's going to hit harder than in the West? Like, I'm just like, okay, obviously, like, Naruto's the most popular anime in America. I don't think
excluding
that's
like those, you know.
Like Dragon Ball and Naruto, and like One Piece is, you know, you slowly pulling it back, like it taking its rightful spot like it deserves. But like in America, that's just not how it ever was. But like, I don't know, this was before Naruto was even on. I'm pretty confident I was seeing Champloo on Adult Swim before Naruto was on a Cartoon Network, because I don't think it was on Adult Swim. I think Naruto was on Toonami and not Adult Swim. But either way, regardless, I'm pretty confident I saw Champloo before Naruto. But regardless, like, it's just so, obviously it's an Eastern story. It's in Japan. The whole plot is Japanese, but they're taking all these Western influence things and incorporated in the story. And it's like, I mean, how does that not hit, like, for us? Like, especially with, you know, our backgrounds, like, you know, like, this is just the type of shit we fuck with. Like, it's just like a tailor-made anime for
tailor-made,
you know?
thank you. That's literally like a term that I was trying to fucking remember. Like, tailor-made literally to our interests, especially coming out of, you know, old school kung fu movies, you know, and old school samurai movies, Zatoichi, Shogun Assassin, all of that shit. And then to come from that to, you know, the animated version of these things, which you don't see too much in the West. I mean, like, you have swordsman characters in the West, but they're all knights, Templars, you know what I'm saying? Like, they might try to, like, you know, get, you know, weird with it and throw, you know, like some kind of like Middle Eastern, you know, character with like one of those Middle Eastern like scimitar sabers, you know what I'm saying? You might see those like here and there in the West, but like, you really don't get samurai, you know what I mean, unless it's Samurai Jack. But
definitely.
But yeah, dude, Mugen is an incredible pick, and it makes so much sense to start the conversation off with him because he should have been in the first episode. But
and another thing that I just really like, that the dub is really good, and that's what we all saw first. It's just how it is, and it's not something you would know until you really read up on it and like maybe watch the sub. But like, so in the dub, they're using a lot of, you know, Mugen swearing, you know, like he's saying, you know, shit, bitch, whatever words are allowed, you know, like,
I think it's damn, ass, hell, shit, bitch. You don't even get shit. You're lucky if you get shit. You get shit like after 9 p.m. on TV. You know what I mean? Or after. But I mean, if the station even allows it, you know what I mean? Because there are some stations where you don't get it no matter what, but.
Sure. And that was supposed to, you know, just portray a vulgar way of speaking, of course, which is, his dialect is known as Yankee, which is Yankee basically, but Yankee, which is very rough Japanese. It's Japanese slang. It's you know, for youthful, urban, like delinquent, like Yakuza hopefuls, you know, that and like that was really just something that once I delved a little bit into the story, I'm like, well, that makes all the sense in the world. That's really tight. Like, they're even using slang, you know? It's
right. Like, they're really about this Western influence that they got. Like,
and obviously all cultures have slang and different dialects and stuff like that. But no.
But just based exactly on right, like the hip hop and
since he's the b-boy and he's the fucking roughneck, obviously he's gotta fucking, you know, have that, which I mean, it's just awesome for his character. And then obviously the last thing, you know, I talked about how he had the graffiti episode, and his name Mugen means eternity or infinity, so he uses the infinity symbol as his fucking tag. I remember watching that. It's like every fucking episode of Champloo hits in a different way. Like, personally to me, for, you know, and it's like, man, I was out tagging trains when I was young, and it's like, man, if I would have just used the infinity symbol, man, like, I wish I'd have just.
I know, like, why didn't I think of that shit?
Exactly, it's so tight. Like, and I don't have to have letters. I just, you know,
that's it. It's easy, no practice.
And I ain't getting caught. And I ain't getting caught. I ain't spending no time. I'm just out of here.
and going back into like his discipline real quick, because we did bring up at the beginning of his spotlight about how he doesn't have a style for his way of fighting. And that was something that hit to me again, because he's constantly being juxtaposed to Jin, right? And Jin's dialogue is all like training, discipline, honor, bushido, you know what I'm saying? And Mugen's just like, kick you, stab you, whatever I gotta do to get this shit done, and I don't care how you feel about me or what you think is honorable about what I'm doing. Like, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's me or you, dog. So, like, I loved that dichotomy inside of their relationship. And as someone who had always wanted to be a swordsman, but knew that it was really unlikely because, like, where the fuck am I gonna you know what I'm saying? I'm like, ain't nobody ever gonna train me. And even if I did find a cold-blooded ass swordsman master, it's like, I'm not showing up every fucking day, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to quit before I'm done with my push-ups for the fucking day, you know what I'm saying?
What am I gonna do with this? Am I bringing this to the office, you know? Like
so I was like, oh, okay, this dude doesn't care about discipline, this dude doesn't care about honor, this dude doesn't care about training. He just picked up a fucking sword and got super fucking tight with it on his own and made his own lane inside of, you know, this trade or craft or profession, I don't know, this lifestyle of being a swordsman. And I was just like, dude, I could totally be Mugen, bro. Like, I swear to God, like, after you, like, you know, like, whenever you watch a TV show or a movie where there's like, you know, like, you watch a ninja movie, it's like, I want to be a ninja. You watch a fucking,
of course.
You know, but Samurai Champloo, that shit hit so fucking hard for me. I was like, I don't want to be a swordsman. I don't want to be, you know, a ninja or anything. I want to be Mugen. You know what I mean? Specifically, you know. And
yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? Honestly, he's one of the fucking coolest characters I think ever created. And there is no Champloo manga, you know, like, you know, Watanabe is the GOAT, bro. Like, they let this man just make anime with no manga, and he just, you know,
gets to do what he wants.
Because
like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Not hire Watanabe?
He just knocks on the door of a fucking animation studio. Like, oh shit, Watanabe's here. Give him, I don't know,
give him everything.
Million. 50 million. Just give
when
it to him.
When he walks in the
door, it's gonna snap. So it's so tight. Like, you know, that man just keeps, you know, putting out fire like that. And it's you know, it's something that's going to resonate with me to the end of my day. Maybe probably the first anime I show my son.
Bro.
You know, just because it's easy to digest and it's 26 episodes. Sentimental value, and I don't have to, you know, sit through 1,000 episodes in One Piece with them. Obviously, I'm gonna, you know, do that at some point.
That's getting done.
Like, it's getting done. But it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna warm you up to some other shit first. You know,
let's ease them in.
Definitely. So, and
man. Great pick.
Actually, now that you said, just one more thing, and now that you talk about like the juxtaposition with Jin, like I remember, like maybe it's the first episode or second, you know, where they fight, and then like the fucking coffee house started on fire, and then like he just like they get knocked out, and he like they wake up and they're all like strung up about to be executed, and Jin's like, you're like the most vulgar, fucking trashiest, fucking dumb. You're the worst fucking person I've ever seen. I hate your style. I hate you. I hate everything about you. But you're the only person I wasn't able to kill.
That was so
like, hard.
Fuck, it's just dude.
Yes, hell yeah.
Mugen.
That's like it's tight how anime does respect that way. It's like they backhand you first, and then it's like actually there's this overarching respect that they're going to get to. You know, it felt too like when Sasuke's got his curse mark in the fucking Chunin exam, and Sakura's like, no, you gotta quit, and Naruto has no idea what he's talking about, and Naruto's like, what the fuck's going on? You turn around and talk to him like, what the hell are y'all arguing about? And you know, Sasuke's like, don't worry about none of that. He's like, you know, like, there's too many people here that I want to fight, but you know what? You're the one I want to fight the most. Finally, that's how you get the respect, is when they want to square up. That's when you got respect. And like it's man, always hits. Definitely.
Always. Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I am so glad that we started off the conversation with Mugen, and we definitely gave him his due respects. I think that was a very long spotlight. He definitely deserves it. I'm happy that we started off with him, though, because I'm going to dig a little bit into the realm of the obscure with my next pick. Definitely not as popular of a swordsman, but considering the recent adaptation, despite its quality, a lot more people know who this person is now. And we're going to look at Yumi Raw from The God of High School, just because might be top 3 swordsmen, like, for me in fiction, just like on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Like they're like, Yumi Raw was the first time that I had seen a female character, like a female swordsman character, reach a level of strength in a series that like is so astronomically like high that it's like mind-blowing how strong she is. You know what I'm saying? Like usually like there are other female characters like that, but like but it was just a different experience that I had ever had in like comic book reading. You know what I'm saying? And The God of High School was like probably I think my very first webtoon. You know what I'm saying? And I'm reading that shit. I'm like, okay, so this is how Korea's doing this shit. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. But dude, so she's super cool. She is a master of the Wolguang swordsmanship, which is a dying discipline that she is one of the only practitioners of left, and which is always, you know, a really cool premise in general. But inside of The God of High School, you have borrowed power or Charyak, which is the energy system inside of the series, and that's basically when you make a contract with a deity from a specific pantheon of mythology, and then you borrow their abilities in combat. And she's got a couple different versions of this that make her wildly capable. Oh yeah, I have, because it's Korean names. I had to to pull up. I had to pull her up because my retention for that kind of shit is just not where
it was always tough. Like I remember like going from like reading manga to manhwa, and it's like, holy fuck, these Korean names are hard as shit, man. They're so hard. Like I just remember like sitting here like looking at shit in the breaker, and I'm just like
why are there so many consonants in a row?
And it's like the opposite of Japanese, where it's like everything
is all vowel based.
Like yeah, exactly. It's like, oh man, this is tough. This is real tough.
Yeah, but Yumi Raw is so cold blooded, bro. Her first borrowed power that her first ability that you see her, she contracts with Yeopo Bongseon, which I'm assuming, I haven't really done too much research, but I mean it was drastic in the webtoon when I read it. His power the power that she gets from him is fucking astronomical. Like right away, the very first special ability you see her use is like, holy shit, okay, so this is what it's like here for this swordsman chick. I'm fucking on board. But I would assume that this Yeopo Bongseong is some kind of saint of war, similar to like a Guan Yu or a Lu Bu. You know what I'm saying? Like a Dynasty Warriors type character. If you look him up, you'll be able to see that. Then you get direct contract, which is a closer to the deity level of strength that you get from the powers, and the direct contract that she has is Lu Bu Fengxian, the actual Lu Bu. So that's really fucking cool that she has all of these non-Japanese, because there are Japanese, you know, power contracts that are like made here, like you see Japanese deities and whatnot, and for a swordsman. You know what I'm saying? You would assume, especially one that wields a katana, you would assume that the borrowed powers would come from like Japanese, you know, pantheon, Shinto, you know, swordsmen from history. But that was just really cool that she had like Chinese and Korean like swordsmen mixed in there. So that was really interesting to me and unexpected. But her feats are so disgusting, bro. Like, well, it gets to a point in the series where like all of her like high tier fights that like mean anything like end either with her winning or losing, but like the landscape is always entirely destroyed. She has an attack called Galaxy Split, which is a EI or Bato Jutsu attack, where you know it's the quick release, unsheath and resheath, and you know how we get down with that shit. You know what I'm saying? So when she uses this Galaxy Split, I didn't notice it because the pages are always so long in webtoons. You know what I'm saying? You have to like one panel can be like this fucking long, you know what I mean? So when she uses the Galaxy Split for the first time, it looked like just like a regular EI Ken attack or Eido attack, EI Jutsu attack, and I was like, okay, that's cool. It must just mean Galaxy because she has all of this borrowed power, and this is like the strongest we've seen her so far. So it's just called Galaxy Split, even though it's just a regular. No, I scroll back up. She split the fucking clouds in half, like clouds, 5 miles down the fucking like, you know, shit. And I was like, that's the fucking sickest. Like Bato Jutsu, like EI Jutsu attack that I think I've ever seen, all the way up to the fucking heavens, bro. I was like, oh my god, yes, bro. And her action sequences inside of The God of High School are always like my favorite to watch. Like she, and it's and with a cast like God of High School, you have Jinmo Ri, Han Dai-Wi, and Yumi Raw, and like all three of them are your top one favorite character. like you can't like it's you're constantly the series is constantly you can't pick, but the series also does a really good job of focusing on each one for a specific amount of time, to the point where it's like, okay, I have to stand you the most because of what this series just showed me. So it's like your top one just has to be all three of them, and if it does alternate, it's because like you have no choice but to replace them based on the feats that you just witnessed in the series. So, but Yumi Raw like was always consistently my reason for coming back, you know, each week to the God of High School. So I had to give her some love and to shout her out. Yeah. She's got a lot more like super crazy shit that she does. Galaxy Split is like the second arc. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's back when we had like 115 chapters. So like now we're like getting close to 500 here. So just imagine what the fuck she's like now. But I won't spoil too much more because the first season of the anime only adapted the first tournament. So
yeah, and I know people are mad about that anime. Bit,
yeah, they are. And you want to know what? I even dropped it.
It's a Crunchyroll like exclusive, so like of course it's bad.
Yeah,
of course it's bad.
And it's got like the tournament, you know, ring has like the Crunchyroll logo as like an advertisement on, like it's sponsored by Crunchyroll. Yeah, the tournament ring says Crunchyroll and Webtoon, like, you know, like the big, like, you know, big head stickers or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, on the side of the ring.
Wasn't it enough that we have to subscribe to Crunchyroll in order to watch this?
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's like you already got me. I'm already here. Like, what is this advertisement for? I'm already a subscriber. You know
it's making me jump over to VRV now. Thanks, good move.
See you later. You blew it. But yeah, I had to give Yumi Raw some love because that was another one that I had thought about after we were done the first time, and I was like, damn, I didn't fucking bring up Yumi Raw. That's like my girl. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
especially because I was bringing up females, like swordswomen.
Yeah, you had like all of your picks were girls.
Almost all of them. Yeah, I think all of them except for maybe one, and because I wanted to do you know, Bokuto users and, you know, female swordsmen, and I mixed them.
You wanted wooden sword users. Yeah.
And my main pick was Suzuka at the end, which is a combo of both.
That's right.
But that was really cool, and I'm glad you brought her up. I really got to get on God of High School. I know I've been telling you I was going to read it for a long.
Well, you were waiting for the anime. You were waiting for the anime, and then the anime is buns. So it's like
I saw Twitter just rip it to shreds, and I'm like.
So, but it ain't going nowhere. Whenever you're ready, you're gonna see some shit, man.
Yeah. It's just like, man, it's just insurmountable things to read. It's like you're reading fucking Ippo and fucking Detective Conan at the same time. Get the fuck out of here, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm having the time of my life, dog. That shit is peak fiction.
I'm still trying to work through fucking Kingdom.
Yeah, man. Kingdom.
It's like half the fucking chapters at Ippo and fucking Detective Conan. Like, But yeah, definitely. But
yeah. Who you got next, man?
Okay. I'm glad that you brought somebody up with a new anime because, like, I'm gonna, keep in the same vein, and I'm gonna run with my man's Kento Nanami.
Let's go, dude. What? I was not expecting.
I know you weren't expecting
Nanami.
That.
What the fuck?
We got to talk about Nanami, and I don't want to spoil like current manga stuff, really. So I mean, you haven't seen him in the anime yet, but we can talk about like early arcs of
like
Nanami.
His first arc is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like Mahito arc stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I understand that the tie-in episodes are supposed to be anime friendly, but at the same time, it's like the amount of people watching our like current weekly Shonen Jump reviews versus the amount of people that watch the tie-in episodes right now at this point in our brand's life is like drastically in favor of the weekly Shonen Jump reviews. So I feel like a lot of the people, the vast majority of the people
probably everybody,
that will see this episode are probably current on Jujutsu Kaisen, but just in case, since these episodes are timeless, try to keep it like inside of the Mahito arc. Yeah, that first one.
Yeah, definitely. And so, I mean, Kento Nanami's just so tight. Like his character is so well written. Yeah. Like he, being a, sorcerer, went to fucking obviously Jujutsu, technical school or whatever, but gave up on being a sorcerer to go be a salaryman, to go work in the office, and seeing fucking, he just couldn't ignore what fucking, he still could see cursed spirits. He was still a fucking Jujutsu sorcerer, even if he didn't want to fucking, be
and
that
a high ranking one. So like when you're that high ranking, you probably start to think like I was meant to do this. So then when you leave because it's too much and you try to go do something a little bit easier, a little bit less stressful, you're constantly scratching and itching, missing that profession that you feel like you were born for. So you keep hearing stories from all your old, constituents and whatnot. Like, yo, this mission was crazy. Like probably, I don't fucking know, but then you're just like, man, like there's constantly just that itch you can't scratch when you're not there, so he had to go back. Yeah,
and he's, a by the book type, but will stray from that when he needs to. And I love those types of characters. Like, it's always like reminiscent of like early Naruto, like Kakashi, like when they're going through their training and like he's telling them like, these are the rules. You got to follow the rules or you're going to fail. Like, if you don't follow my shit, I run shit around here, you know? But that was obviously misdirection to say, if you can't work together and put aside those rules and go above and beyond that, because he's like, if you break rules or whatever, if you break the rules of the ninja, like, you're scum. But those that, like, abandon their friends are worse than scum. Like, that always, like, rang true to me, like, seeing Nanami. And, like, Nanami's just, like, that's, like, what he embodies, really. It's like, yes, he's always trying to do the right thing. He's always trying to, like, go by the book. But,
but that gut feeling will take over when it needs to, and when it does.
Yes.
It's some shit.
Those always hit. That's the thing. It's like when you write a character like that, when those moments happen, there's just no way you don't jump out of your seat and just
let's go. And dude, Nanami's character was so fucking cool to me, like, just off of his design, first of all. But then like I didn't, like, you don't know what his weapon is for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because he keeps it, in his suspenders underneath his blazer. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you finally see that motherfucker take the meat cleaver out, which is what I thought it was, like a butcher knife, like an oversized butcher knife, you know what I'm saying? Is what I thought it was.
Yeah, like a cleaver. Cleaver is a good word.
But it's obviously longer. It looks more like a cricket paddle. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? But it was just such a cool fucking weapon, such a cool fucking design, and like seeing him use it, like when he's fighting Mahito, I remember a panel where he's like spinning it around, you know what I'm saying? It has like the after images of him spinning it before he clacks down on it, and it's like that's not something that like you would really see a swordsman do, because they have weapons maybe that are too long, to justify it. But like it's just the length of his weapon, I feel like, attributes to like how many more extra movements that we get of it. We've seen people like spin swords around before, but like when Nanami did it, it just like hit a little bit different, and I felt like it meant a little bit more than to me at the time. And I was just like, man, this is such a fucking cool fighting style, such a cool character. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like his ability, the ratio, the 7-3, to find the weak point, you know what I'm saying, and turn it into a crit, basically, is just like, every swordsman should have that. Like, I saw that ability and I was like, imagine any swordsman with this ability. You know what I'm saying? That is so important. Like, probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And what's really, really cool about his sword is, it's blunt. It's not sharp. It's wrapped in this cloth that's basically representative of his jujutsu technique. And it looks like it's blood splattery, but I also took it with, like, representative of his technique. It's like dots on an integer line, right?
Yes.
Like and that's what his ability is. It shows you the integer line, and it's the 7-3 ratio on it, and it's like, and it matches his tie. Hey, man, he's stunting too, bro. Like, this got so much drip from the salary man.
I think it is his tie, isn't it?
Exactly.
He takes the tie off and then wraps it around the sword, doesn't it?
See, but no. I'm pretty sure it's always on the sword like that, isn't it? Or I think he only did that for his fist.
Oh, for his fist,
When he uses his uses his ability without. But
man, I'm thinking I have to go back and like double check on that, because I swear to God,
we got to do a reread of Jujutsu. Even though I've read it 3 times, it's like I need a fourth. It's like,
and it's like something like fucking Nanami, one of the most important characters, and it's like. We've read the series 2-3 times a piece, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, what? Wasn't it the tie? You know what I'm saying? It's like there's just so much going on in that series that you have to remember that's so important. That's why multiple reads are important for Jujutsu Kaisen. Read it again if you have only read it once.
It's like Hunter. If you don't read it 3-4 times, you don't catch it, probably half of the shit that's going on in there. Like, you really gotta... and you'll see these people on Twitter like, oh, I read Jujutsu Kaisen one time and I fully understand it perfectly. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's like
you could be telling the truth, but it's like I have to assume cap until you complete a quiz that I give you on, or something like that. Like,
and unless you're one of those like I don't know, maybe super neurotic people that are like taking notes while they read, saving screenshots and have folders on their PC of like,
well, you might as well be rereading it at that point then anyway.
Exactly.
Constantly go back and reference everything.
Definitely. So it's just, Jujutsu Kaisen, 2 episodes out, brand new episode came out today.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's gonna be the greatest anime of all time. So like, if you are new to it, that's why I didn't want to spoil you, but I also wanted to hype you up on this anime. Just go watch it, even if you're an anime only, which I don't recommend. I recommend you to read the manga. Very, very, very highly read this fucking manga.
Yes.
But even if you were an anime only, like, that's as long as you're consuming this story, I'm happy. And, and it's our favorite thing we cover week to week. Basically, it's definitely like our top 3 thing we cover. It's like One Piece. It's like I always got to kind of like exclude One Piece because it's the GOAT.
One Piece.
It's different. It's like, but Jujutsu, it's like we're so hyped for Jujutsu every week.
And this new one that's coming up, bro, is about to be some shit, man. This fucking read the Ross, you son of a bitch. It's drastic.
I was gonna try to find scans today, but I didn't do it.
Well, it's probably better this way. But it's only 2 days away. But did you have anything else you wanted to say about Nanami?
Not without spoiling shit. No,
right. Well, I mean, in that same breath, you just made me. You just kind of. A light bulb just kind of like went off, and I feel like we could talk about this coming out of Nanami and go into Okotsu Yuta for a quick second because that's a sword handling motherfucker if I ever seen one, bro. Because and it's like when the first time that I read Tokyo Metropolitan Magic Technical School or Volume 0 of Jujutsu
Jesus
Kaisen.
Christ, you said that whole shit.
yeah. But like when the first time I read it, like I read through it, I was like, fuck yeah, this is really cool. I went back to Jujutsu Kaisen. And then when I went back to read it a second time, the prequel or Volume 0, I was like, this motherfucker Yuta always have a sword? I don't know why I like forgot that he was a swordsman after the first time I read it. But then you go back, and then I go back and read it a second time, and I was like, God damn, he is a swordsman, and he's fucking cold-blooded with this shit, bro. And it's cool because I just love characters that can like adapt to like things like really quickly and are like really quick on like the on the uptake, you know what I'm saying? I like the slow burn progression of main characters too, like Deku, Yi Shi-woon from the Breaker, you know what I'm saying? Like I like the slow crawl, but like I also really think it's cool if done properly, if executed well, when your rags to riches story is like 2 weeks long because you're a prodigious talent or because you have like some kind of, you're an anomaly of some kind. You are meant to,
which this man is,
which he definitely is, and just seeing him come up in the school after being brought there by Gojo, and what he trains with Maki for like what?
That's the thing
weeks?
Is that Gojo's like, here, like you use a sword because with your cursed, vengeful spirit here, you're gonna have to like channel something into some kind of metal vessel, which really resonated with M.A.N.G.A. Felt like a M.A.N.G.A. Boom, here, take a sword, put your power in your sword, and like I just love the way that M.A.N.G.A. did the animation of like the illustration of the Juryoku around the sword. It looked just different, but familiar at the same time, just because of Gege's sketchy style. I just loved it so much.
Absolutely. So what, he trains with Maki for like what, 2 weeks, and then beats Geto at the end of the at the end of the prequel, and I was like, holy shit. And like obviously you could say like, oh no, that seems a little bit too quick, but then it's well explained by his situation with Rika and the infinite like power, like cycle that, his infinite potential for power that he has because of his cursed situation with Rika. So it's like, okay, he's not really all that good of a swordsman after 2 weeks. He's just good enough as a swordsman, and then has a whole lot of fucking gusto behind his swings. You know what I'm saying? So that was always really cool. I just wanted to shout him out because you brought up Nanami, and I was just like, well, shit, we got to talk about Okotsu real quick too then. So a little lightning round for Okotsu there. But
sure.
My real next pick that I wanted to hop in here with, Inuyasha, because we didn't talk about fucking Inuyasha last time, and Yashahime just started, so I got Inuyasha on the brain, and I'm like thinking about who I'm going to talk about tonight, and I'm like, oh yeah, Inuyasha's got a big dumbass sword, bro, and Inuyasha was cool and was different for me back then, because also back in the time where I was an infant weeb. You know what I'm saying? I was a very young otaku back then and hadn't been really exposed to a whole lot of Japanese media. So when I see Inuyasha, I was like, okay, so this is a feudal story. I'm used to that. But wait, the main character is a demon? Okay, that's really fucking cool. Oh, his sword is huge? All right, well, I'm here now. You have my attention, and I don't think I had ever seen a main character of anything with a sword that big yet, besides Cloud. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point in my life, you know what I mean? So seeing this in animated form, I was like Inuyasha was my first big sword main character, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh yeah. And it's not even that he was like really, like Inuyasha never really delved into like the skill of swordsmen as much, you know, because it was obviously you know, fantastical like energy and demons and occult like superpower spiritual shit going on in the foreground. But there were some times, like, despite the fact that it wasn't like really based heavily around training and the skill of swordsmanship and like the discipline of like Bushido or anything like that, you still got a lot of like scenes that you see in swordsman series that are like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to what's the Smith's name?
Totosai.
Totosai. We got good Totosai scenes. It was always because his sword broke and he needed to fix it. Yeah. But like you got a bunch of like sword info, like educational, like you know, sword info, like in those scenes. You know what I'm saying? So like you learned more about swordsmanship watching Inuyasha, even though it wasn't really predicated on that. It wasn't a series that was predicated on that, you know, Bushido style like culture. You know what I'm saying? So that was always something that was really cool.
I mean, speaking of Totosai, I mean, that reminds me, like, it was what you're saying with the big sword, you know, MC. So Inuyasha first gets the sword. It's, you know, a raggedy sword, like, you know, busted
like
out,
dull and
dull and chipped and all that shit. You know, he has to, you know, be able to want to protect humans in order for it to fucking activate. You know, when he goes to protect Kagome, it finally activates because really just like stabs Sesshomaru in the eye with a rusty fucking sword and shit. It's just like, that's all this fucking thing is good for. Like, it was really fucking funny. But like, when fucking God, what's his name? The fucking the tightest fucking demon incarnate of Naraku that breaks the sword, it bites it and breaks it. Go Shinki. Hell yeah. That's one of the that might be the tightest fucking episode of Inuyasha.
I think so, dude, because it did everything, right? It had really high stakes inside of Go Shinki because that was his biggest enemy up until that point by a lot, besides Sesshomaru, which you always knew was going to be looming in the background. And like you kind of had an idea of like how that kind of relationship between him and Inuyasha was going to go. But like Go Shinki was like an outlier, like an outlier that like a wild card that like you like what is this all of a sudden in Inuyasha? You know what I'm saying? And then for him to introduce stakes like that, being such a wildly capable opponent for Inuyasha to the point where he breaks his sword, but also it's not just his physical strength that's crazy. He can read your fucking mind. He's a fucking like horror. He's like a horror monster. You know what I'm saying? So I'm scared as shit. You know what I'm saying?
Anything with flesh. Ate the horses, ate all the people in the village, was about to eat those two little children hiding in the hay. And he's like, it doesn't matter that you're hiding in the hay. I can read your mind. I know you're in there and I'm about to eat the fuck out of you. And they're just like, scared as fuck, just crying. And it was like super fucking scary for, early in our anime days of seeing that. I'm like, holy shit. I don't know if I ever seen something as crazy as this.
I hadn't. Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, okay, this is a very ominous presence that's being introduced here. This episode has a completely different tone and feel than anything before it. It was literally like you can equate it to Kite and Gon and Killua going through the Chimera Antark, you know, before Pito was born, and they're like, okay, so you know he's confident enough and comfortable enough to teach them things along the way, like sit back and let them fight other people. You think you have a really good idea of what's going on here? No, Pito's born, steps outside the hive. As soon as the malice touches fucking Kite, he starts sweating like, no, this is different. You know what I'm saying? That's how I fucking felt going into the Go Shinki episode. Like, I think I know what's going on in Inuyasha. Go Shinki!
This is so crazy, too, because it's like you never expected Tetsaiga to break, and then it breaks and it breaks, and then he's like, okay, then you're getting introduced to Totosai because he's like, I got a broken sword, I gotta get my shit fixed. It's like Totosai is the one who originally made Tetsaiga and Tenseiga, which we could talk a little bit about Tenseiga as well. But once he breaks Tetsaiga, you know, and goes to Totosai, he's like, well, Tetsaiga's made of Inuyasha's father's fang. So he's like, you need to go get a fucking fang. Or no, you need to give me one of your fangs.
So that I can give it a filling, basically.
And pulls out the canine too, rips the canine out of his mouth, and that was super tight. And that like once it's fixed and repaired, it's way too heavy for Inuyasha. He's ready to swing his
He's like, oh damn.
Which that's one of those things that you do see in like, you know, like a big sword, you know, anime or whatever. You know, shit's way too fucking heavy for me to swing. Or like reminded me of like Dragon Ball. I'm pretty sure the fucking
the sword Dragon
Ball Z, Gohan
to cut the block of Kachin in the Kai space. Yeah, that sword. He couldn't even pick up that sword. Yeah. And then when he finally does pick up the sword, it's a Super Saiyan. And then when he finally does pick up the sword, now you got to cut through basically Dragon Ball's adamantium. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, holy fucking shit, like heavy plus immovable like object like coming at you. You know what I'm saying? Or I mean, unstoppable force. Same thing. You can really choose. Unbreakable. Sure. Yeah, because
and that was just really cool with like Inuyasha because Tetsaiga and Tenseiga are both made from Inuyasha and Sesshomaru's dad's fangs, which they're used, basically against each other, so they could never kill each other, right? So Tetsaiga, no matter how hard he's gonna hit fucking, Sesshomaru with the fucking whatever backlash weight, whatever the fuck he's hitting him
wind scar.
It's like Tenseiga is just going to heal him and fix him, and they literally can't fight each other. And Sesshomaru was always so pissed. He's like, "Why did my father leave me with the worst fucking sword? It can't kill anything."
Because you're the maniac.
Exactly. He chops Jockin right in half with it, and like those little fucking like other beings, gremlins come in and put them back together and shit. Yeah, so it was like just a super like tight dynamic.
That is an incredible dynamic. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. It's like Cyclops and Havoc. You know what I'm saying? They can't hurt each other with their beams. You know what I'm saying? So like that's like the only other example that I have of something like that in media that I have experienced up until that point. So like seeing that in sword form is like, yo, this is fucking sick. Yeah, dude. I got like goosebumps just like remembering Inuyasha right now. It's super nostalgic.
It's just cool too, the fucking swordsmiths, because Totosai had that fucking apprentice. I don't remember his name, but he like.
Oh yeah, he did have a little guy with him, didn't he? Like,
he went dude. Evil. No, he had like the fucking Naobito mustache, evil dude. He like became evil, and Totosai was like, no, I had to get rid of him because that dude just started making crazy fucking destructive, nasty fucking. Oh evil swords.
And he made the sword that Tokijin. Yes. Yeah, he makes Tokijin so that Sesshomaru has a weapon to do damage with. Yeah,
to do damage with. So like it was just super tight. Like it's man, I just love. I remember those episodes because it goes from fucking Goshinki all the way through. Sesshomaru getting Tokijin is I feel like the best fucking episodes in Inuyasha, because there's the one too where it's like Sesshomaru just shows up like, I heard you turn into a full demon. Like I heard and fucking I need to see that or whatever. And he's like, I don't have my sword really right now, whatever. Like, you try to fight me when I'm not ready or whatever. And like, Inuyasha like crouches down, and then like the malice comes out, and Sesshomaru like takes a step back, and
he's like, this is the first time I've ever felt fear in my life.
Yeah, he's ever felt fear about like those episodes. That was just so fire back then.
The Tokijin arc was also super sick because he needed a dragon's arm to wield it, didn't he? So he had to go kill that dragon and take his arm so that he could wield Tokijin. He
used the dragon arm to try to break Tetsaiga.
Oh, yeah. And, but then, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's when...
He needed a human arm to wield Tenseiga.
To wield Tetsaiga.
To wield Tetsaiga. Yeah.
Yes, he needed a human arm. For that. And that's why, you're right, because that is the reason that he goes and gets a dragon arm, because he's like, I need another arm now, and I need one that can wield Tetsaiga. So it's like, let me try this. I don't know. We can try dragon arm yet, so let me throw that one on there. And he couldn't take Tetsaiga from Inuyasha.
So he was like, I'll just break your shit then.
Yeah, he kept attacking it, and then Inuyasha could hear Tetsaiga like
screaming
out. So it was really
so then he stops. So then he stops like blocking or trying to parry with Tetsaiga, and then Sesshomaru just steals off his ass, boom, right in the fucking forehead between the eyes, and like I remember that scene too because he punches his shit like right in the forehead, and then like in regular motion, then it like slows down for a second, and you can hear like. You know what I'm saying? Like his skull, like the blood comes down, and then he goes blind.
He hits him with the poison claw. After the punch, his claws are poison and makes him go blind. Which and then Sesshomaru even says, he's like, you're protecting your sword. You just took a fucking blow right to your face. So I stopped attacking Tetsaiga. I was like,
this is so fucking sick, dude.
So fucking tight. I'm glad, because I didn't remember any of that shit. But once we start talking about it,
it's coming back. Oh yeah.
Especially because it's like we feel like we got to do a rewatch, and we never finished Inuyasha because it gets long and a little kind of stale.
I would have finished it if Adult Swim would have put all them motherfucking episodes on there, bro. I was there at 11 o'clock on the dot every single fucking night, bro. You know what I'm saying? But they just wanted to keep recycling the the same 60, 75 episodes, whatever the limit was. And I remember I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, bro. Like y'all, if y'all want to restart the series, like, you know, or whatever, like cool. But like, y'all better have run out of episodes because we're right in the middle of some crazy shit. And now I'm back at episode 1. Like I'm sitting here like, what's going to happen next? I got my popcorn. Like I got my fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is going to be some shit. And then it's like episode 1. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
The DBZ dilemma. Like I remember that's the first time I've ever experienced something like that when it's like we're on Namek, Goku's fighting Raccoon, and then fucking next episode's first episode, Raditz again. I remember throwing something in my house like, what the fuck is this? I saw this shit. So mad. Like, what? I know it's not over. He's fighting the other guys. He's fighting Jason Bourne. Like, what the fuck? This shit ain't over.
And the concept of like the dub isn't caught up with the, you know, that was, you know, we didn't know anything about that back then. So we're like, nah, dog, it ain't. You don't just run out of episodes in the middle of an arc. You know what I'm saying? This is finished somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, why won't you give it to us? It's like, oh, because it's not dubbed yet, probably. Yeah,
they don't have the licenses. They got to, you know, pay fucking Toei, whatever. You know? So,
Inuyasha, dude. I was not ready to have that lit of a conversation about Inuyasha just now. Like, I mean, like, obviously we could talk about anything we fucking want. It's always a good time. But when I was thinking about Inuyasha, I was like, man, how much do I fucking remember? Like, what this conversation even going to be like? And then you remembered something, said something that reminded me of something, said something.
Exactly.
The way that it usually goes, but like still, like
it's fun. That's why this is so fun to do. Like it's easy. It's almost second nature at this point.
Right. It's just a very fun conversation about Inuyasha.
Very organic. Good stuff for sure.
Yes, definitely. Okay, Kiko. Who do you want to talk about next?
I just kind of want to do a quick lightning round, a quick little spotlight on it's going to be the Shinmei Ryu style, swordsman style of Akamatsu Ken's work, which are, it goes through 3 different manga, which is Love Hina, Maho Sensei Negima, and UQ Holder.
Oh, it's in Love Hina too.
It's even in Love Hina. Yeah, it's Shinmei Ryu school.
What the fuck is Love Hina about? Actually, I haven't even tried to see.
Yeah. And actually, I think it's even in his first harem that's even before Love Hina, but I'm just not familiar with that one. It's like, how much harem can I really be familiar with? I hate the fucking genre. And it's like with Negima, you know, like I started with UQ Holder first, and like my sister's like, oh, there's a prequel. You got to read Negima. And it's like, okay, fine. All right, I'll go read Negima.
I remember when you found UQ Holder, bro. I remember like you came into the group chat and you were like, I just found some tight shit and it's brand new and it's tight right away. There's only like 40 chapters out. And everyone's got to read it.
Oh, there was like 12, I think.
I think actually, you want to know what? It was super early.
Yeah, it was real early. Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let me go see what's going on with this. I think
it's a Kodansha. It's Kodansha title too, so it's one of those that kind of, you know, anything that's not fucking, you know, Shueisha is lesser accessible. You know, it's harder to get at. So it was one of those. I'm like, man, this might be some secret gem. I don't think people know about it.
And it definitely was, because like you said, I was like, when does it get tight? And you were like, chapter 1, and I was like, say the least, bro. Went and read that shit. Drastic ass first chapter. Stayed current with it for a long ass time. Obviously, we read it for a couple years, and then like what? Maybe like a couple months after we started reading it, we found out that Negima was the prequel. I can't remember. I think I remember coming to you and being like, yo, did you know that this had a prequel series? You were like, yeah, I just found it. Yeah, so I think we found it at like the same time.
That was the thing. My sister knew it the whole time. And that was the thing. And I didn't really, like, she is just like, barely comes into group chat. She'll see something and maybe say something and then just not in there like actively. So like she didn't even know that I was talking about UQ Holder. She's like, oh, UQ Holder, yeah, you got to read Negima then. I'm like, what? You know, like,
oh, that shit you was talking about before? Oh,
I was like, it did feel like a Dragon Ball Z to me. I was like, I feel like there's a lot of history I'm missing out on here. And maybe we're going to expound upon that later. But it was like, no, there's a whole 350 fucking chapter manga before this. Like, what?
Why do I feel like it hits a little bit harder when you start with the second series, not knowing that there's a previous one?
I agree.
Yeah, not knowing that there's a previous one. You start the second series, and it's written, you know, like it's like kind of like self-contained. Like you can read it without reading, you know, Negima or whatever. Like they're not, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it always kind of like hits a little bit harder when you start the second series not knowing about the previous one, and then find out that the previous one exists, and then go back and get all of those gaps filled in. You know what I'm saying? But man. Akamatsu Ken verse, bro. Like,
and I didn't exactly. That's kind of why I just want to spotlight it. I don't want to go too deep into it because this is a fucking a sword style that spans across multiple works of his, which is just awesome that somebody does something like that. Like, that's so tight, cool.
Especially like reaching back into previous work that's not even close to shonen, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
It's like, what the fuck is this fighting style doing in this harem story? I'm like super curious about that now. But go ahead, get in.
Well, and maybe just a little bit more. I just want to explain is that if for people that don't know about Negima, is that Akamatsu Ken starts writing harem, gets put in a box, like you have to keep writing harem, and he pulled the rug out from under the fucking, publishing
Once
company.
The harem was established in that new series.
Then he's like, I'm going to just change to a shonen after like 65 chapters. It's like 65 chapters of harem. We're shonen now. Fuck all that shit.
And guess what? It's like peak shonen storytelling at the same time. So so look at you guys, Kodansha, forcing me to write harem, and I got the best things in sliced bread in the shonen genre right here. On chill.
Exactly. So it's one of those where it's like if you fucking just start reading it from the beginning, you'll drop that shit immediately. I thought if I didn't have UQ already under my belt and like recommendations, and I just started with Negima, I threw that shit out the window immediately.
Probably the biggest barrier for me ever going into a series is 60 chapters of straight harem, cringy harem shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's. Setsuna is the main Shinmei Ryu swordswoman in Negima, which it was really cool because this is still during the harem portion, and like how her character's introduced. Like there's some fucking like magic spell that's using paper, like kind of like Conan from Naruto, like little flying fucking paper, and she just cuts the shit up on this fucking train, and like Iaido puts her shit back, and I'm just like,
okay, so that's what we're doing.
I'm starting to see where we're going here, and it's just a really fucking cool concept to have this just keep running throughout all, and there's like 20 of these fucking people that all from this fucking school, and there's even like this, it's Togen Shinmei Ryu style, which is like a reversal of the style, basically to fight against Shinmei Ryu swordsmen. Ooh. So it's just really fucking cool, and that's why I just wanted to kind of lightly touch on it, because I can't really go deep into this because we'll be here all night.
But read Ken Akamatsu's work. We might have to do like a Ken Akamatsu episode of some kind. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been meaning to get back into Negima too. Like I swear to God, like literally like a month ago, I was like, you want to know what? I'm catching back up to UQ Holder. Kiko will not stop talking. Like he's literally been for like the last 5 years telling me since I dropped it that every chapter has been incredible. What am I doing? You know what I'm saying? So I'm
especially since when it moved from weekly to monthly, we're getting 50 pages, and they're just every single one slaps so hard because there's so much in each. It's just crazy how tight they all are, and we're just like at peak arcs right now too. It's crazy.
Literally like a month ago, I was like, dude, what the fuck am I? I'm just gonna catch back up on UQ Holder, and I'm gonna finish Negima too, because I need this whole story. So.
And honestly, you can just start Negima around 80 at the Mahora tournament, and just skip all the harem.
I tried to do that. When I first got into Negima,
miss a little bit here and there.
Well, I mean, even if I didn't miss too much, it just feels like dirty. Skipping,
you're right.
So skipping material.
Yeah, we're manga readers. You can't start. But especially like
that is the one where I would justifiably be like, if someone was like, I had to skip the first 60, 80 chapters of Negima. Normally for any other series, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. You're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? But like, for that, I'd be like, well, I'm just not gonna say that. I'm not gonna argue with you. Do what you have to do, bro. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. So.
But
just a little
great
quick spotlight on that.
Yeah, but read Negima, read UQ. Shit is drastic.
Yep.
One thing we can say about UQ Holder, Tauta, main character, is a swordsman, has the gravity blade.
Yes.
That shit is fucking sick. The tightest one of the tightest concepts for a sword I think I've ever seen. He can control its density or its gravity or its gravitational weight, basically. So he can either make it really heavy when swinging down or when swinging anywhere, just to have more acceleration, mass, velocity, whatever the science is behind heavy things hitting you, you know what I'm saying? So he can do that, but then also if he needs to, can turn the fucking gravity down to make him more mobile. Cold-blooded, bro. And I'm sure he's going crazy in the current shit right now too, because where I was at, he was already a problem. But okay. So for the sake of time, I feel like we are getting close to you know, the tie-in length of the episode. So how do you feel about maybe one more pick each?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
all right, cool.
Let's go.
So my last pick it's Chad hours, baby. You know what I'm saying? We're taking a trip to Wano inside of One Piece, and we're looking at Big Daddy Oden. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, bro.
Gonna put our chef hat hair on, right? You know?
Yeah. His hair does look like a fucking chef hat. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And he's got the apron. He's got the apron, and like when he's first introduced, it's like not his regular garb. I want to say it's like, well, maybe it is, but I swear to God, I saw him in like one of those, you know, sushi roller, you know, aprons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I'm glad you bring up Oden because my last pick, I just kind of wanted to highlight the Scabbards as a whole. So
okay,
like,
let's just have one big combo. Yeah. Yes,
let's
absolutely.
just round the whole shit off.
Well then, shit. Why don't we talk? Well, yeah, let's do Oden first, then finish with the Scabbards. I wanted to say that Oden is like a good anchor to the conversation to round off the combo with because he's such a larger than life personality. But you want to know what? Fuck it. It's one big conversation anyway. Oden is a lord, fam. Like, I swear to God, when this motherfucker was introduced in the series, like, his character design, his, like, aura, his initial characterization, his development after the fact, like, was just, I was so enthralled. And there was a whole bunch of fucking Oden slander going on the Twitter timeline and whatnot, like, when his character was introduced, like, because of the length of the flashback. Yeah, because he looks a little funky. Well, it was just, there was so many complaints that people just had about that flashback in general. And the whole time I'm like, you guys, how? You know what I mean? Like, this is the first, like, real experience with, like, intense group like One Piece slander that I had online for the first time. So I'm sitting here going like, why now? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why for Oden? Like, for out of anything that you could slander about One Piece, it comes in droves for this character. I was like, what the fuck is going on? He's amazing. And my favorite thing about Oden, and we're going to talk about his swordsmanship obviously too, but like when I was thinking about it, when I was reading it, I was like, this motherfucker is the monster trio of the Straw Hat Pirates all in one character. He's literally has the outlook of Luffy with the directional ineptitude of Zoro.
Swordsmanship.
Swordsmanship, but also he's directionally challenged just like Zoro, and he can't ignore a woman's cry. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is literally like Oda, like what the fuck? Like, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying? And then like going into his swordsmanship, which really, like, it's just gonna be feats. Like, that's gonna be our conversation for his swordsmanship because it doesn't really go too in depth into like training for him or anything because he's just such a prodigious talent. He was just a god at birth. You know what I'm saying? And like they're
what he like threw his wet nurse across the room. Crazy shit as an infant. You know, like that's wild. Yeah, and I mean, using Nitoryu too. Like he actually Nitoryu. So tight.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
I loved his character in his flashback, bro.
He never skipped leg day, I'll tell you that.
One of the only like characters, like, or one of very few, I want to say, characters
in One Piece that didn't skip leg day. Almost all characters in One Piece skip leg day.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like 90% of One Piece is like Pete from Goofy movie. And then you have Oden, who has like a little bit better proportionate limbs to the rest of his body. And it's just like, oh, okay, this is great. This is a full-bodied character. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. As soon as he fights the pig god, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we see his very first attack in his character, in his flashback, he slices the fucking pig god in half. I just remember, like, One Piece is so good about sword designs, sword names, and swordsman attack names in particular are like the best named attacks like in the series, like for me personally. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell that Oda's a really big samurai nerd, you know what I'm saying? Because whenever swordsman characters are involved, you can tell that that's like the deepest like area of his bag in regard to character designs is like sword characters, you know what I mean? And Oden, out of all the swordsmen that we fucking seen in the series, like the only two that have had me go like, holy shit, like shivers, like goosebumps, like when this character is on screen introduced when he's doing anything, Dracula, Mihawk, Oden, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, both of those characters inside of One Piece are just like so, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Prolific? I don't know if that's the word, but like, just like you could tell that there's something about these characters before you know anything about their lore. And obviously Oden, a little bit more so than Mihawk, was kind of like built up over time, and we knew that he was a fucking big deal. But like even for that situation where going into the character that he's a big deal, as soon as you actually start getting the character, it completely blew my expectations of how big of a deal this was actually going to be. You know what I'm saying? And like in the feats that we get with him fighting the pig god and then joining Roger's crew, before that's a pretty big skip, because he goes and gets all of the Scabbards, goes to Ashura Doji's like area of Wano, which is basically Kuri, you know what I'm saying? Which is
the lawless.
It's like Madripoor in Marvel Comics. It's like fucking it's like the inside in Kengan Ashura. It's literally just a place where the laws cannot reach, it's a place that laws can't reach, you know what I'm saying? So just the fact that he walked in there, you know what I'm saying, like by himself, left everyone else that he was like, because I remember in this flashback it was like, where's Oden? He hasn't been around. It's like, where did he go? It's like, that motherfucker went to Curry by himself, I know it. And they all go to try to like find him, and then when they get there he's sitting on top of all the fucking bodies, like I won this zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's cracking? You know what I mean? Like, I beat this board. You know, and it's just like, holy fucking shit.
And joins Whitebeard's crew first. Yes. And it's just so great, like how Oda plans all this, and obviously it's Oda, so like that just should go without saying. But like it's all this has been built up for so long. Like we've seen Izo on fucking Whitebeard's crew, and like it's like, oh, okay, you got like a traditional samurai type, on the crew, even though it kind of uses a gun, but still you knew it was Bushido
felt like
type
a samurai
character.
Yeah. Felt like a samurai regardless.
And you're like, okay, that makes sense, because now you're seeing how this starts to get tied together, and you see Izo even in the flashbacks, like with Kiku, and so like, okay, great, we're starting to get this shit. And when Oden joins Whitebeard's crew, Whitebeard has all of his subordinates are his sons, but Oden was the only one looked at as a brother.
Yes.
Only one as, this is my brother. This ain't my son. Like, this is the only, like, he recognized Oden's greatness right from when they showed up on the island of Wano on the fucking, and Oden running up, squaring up right away. Like,
and Whitebeard knew right away, it's like, we're closer to rivals or equals or partners than we are to, subordinate and higher up, kind of like relationship, which was really cool that we got that literally just in that line of dialogue of, you're not a son, you're a brother. There was no extra exposition or explanation. There was no like narrator box that said Edward Newgate usually called all of his, crew members a son, except for Oden, because of it was literally just like, the fact that I am calling you a brother instead of a son tells you literally everything. You've been reading this fucking story for 900 fucking chapters. Whitebeard, you know that he's had X amount of time in the series literally only calling crew members son. So when he says brother, right away you're just like, all right. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. We know what's going on with this. And it's just so tight too, like when Whitebeard and Roger's crews clash, and fucking Oden's the first to set it off, jumps out running crazy out there, and then wow, Roger, boom, one shots his ass. Oden gets flung into the fucking wall and smashed, but he jumps out happy as hell.
He's like, bro, that was lit.
What the fuck was that? Running back into the fight right away, like
try that again, try that again. Come on.
Fighter's like, no, this ain't you, this ain't you. Let me, boom. One of the best panels in the history of One Piece.
Oh yeah, that clash is peak like One Piece hype. But
yeah, it's definitely chat hours. This man is full chat at
very
all
chatty,
time, bro.
Very chatty, and just him being like, and we knew before we met his character that he was the one that scarred Oden, or I mean that he was the one that scarred Kaido, and like that's a really big deal, just like in the lore itself. And when you actually see that part of the flashback, when he really does, clash with Kaido, and then you get that scene where he's kind of like you could tell that Kaido isn't happy about the way that things happened, because obviously Orochi did some underhanded shit and like faked a Momonosuke hostage, which distracted Oden for long enough for Kaido to sneak attack him and knock him out, and then he was captive. but like just like the fact that Kaido was like didn't feel right about that, despite being built up as this like detestable, you know, emperor who is been linked, you know, in the background to all of the other detestable characters, especially Doflamingo, like leading up to this. We know that this dude sucks, you know what I mean? But for him to acknowledge Oden the way that he did in that scene, that was like the first glimpse into Kaido's character that let us know that there was more to him than just a villain that needed to be defeated. He had a lot more depth to his character. He actually respects his enemies. There's a sense of honor there for him. And before that is like, you know, exemplified in his later showings, like of how he interacts with like the Topi Roppo and like what kind of person he really is in a calm setting. Before that, I was just like, okay, so Oden, since everything is like in this flashback is centered around Oden's aura and how he attracts people towards him and how he has this Pirate King-esque will, you know what I'm saying, and character, I figured at that time, oh, this is the one person that Kaido respects. This is the only person that we would ever see any kind of like depth come out of Kaido in regard to honor and respect for people is just Oden, because he's that type. But then we find out later, like, okay, well, Kaido's kind of cool anyway, you know what I'm saying? But maybe back then in Kaido's life, this was the first time he had been humbled by an enemy. And just the fact that it's Oden with one attack, the first time they don't clash or nothing. Oden doesn't get like hit first. It's like, no, it's smoke right away. I see Kaido, I slash Kaido. No, like he couldn't do really much of anything about it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, holy shit, like Kaido is just like this huge mountain of a character inside of One Piece that is supposed to be invincible, tried to kill himself a million times. There's a lot of great build up to that slash damage that Oden gave him. Yeah, that made that moment so spectacular, is knowing everything that
it wasn't able to be executed.
Wasn't able to be executed. Style. Yes, bro. I love that story. Like, because we've seen that a couple times. We've seen that in fucking way back in the day in like Five Deadly Venoms. That was like the plot point, you know, where they couldn't kill him with a couple different, you know, until they tried to put him in the Iron Maiden or whatever. But still, yeah, man. I've been kind of rambling for a minute, so go ahead and get in your shit.
I know. I like everything you're saying, because it really drives home the Oden complex that Kaido has. Like, you know, in these current chapters, you're seeing Oden's fear, you know, of the Scabbards, of the Kozuki name, like just and these characters that are strong. Obviously, the Scabbards are very strong, but like you feel like Kaido should just be able to one shot all fucking 9 of them, you know, but he can't, you know, and it's maybe due to their strength, but maybe due to his complex, you know, it's really hard to say at this point, but yeah, I mean, we've theorized that like him sitting around drinking all the time is just him fucking wallowing in fucking his underhanded defeat of Oden. He didn't beat him fucking legitimately, and that he fucking just basically everything. He's just has an Oden complex. I don't know what else you can really say about it. It's just like
that situation in his life, you know what I mean? And another really cool thing about Kaido is that, like, yes, obviously he was born a very prodigious talent, didn't really need any training per se that we know of. I don't think they ever went into it in One Piece, how much training he's actually had, but like just being the kind of person that's just good at whatever they try, you know what I mean? Like, and to astronomical levels inside of Oden's character specifically is just always cool. But the fact that like all of his retainers, you know, were warriors to some degree on their own before they met Oden. So they had their own disciplines. They went to their own dojos. They had their own mentors that trained them the best that they could. And they thought that they were great, you know, until they met Oden. And then once you meet Oden and you start following him, it's like, okay, now I'm like under Oden. I'm going to become a better swordsman than I ever could have been, a better warrior just by following this person who never has had any kind of training or anything or any kind of, you know, mentor, you know, master discipline, you know, history to that we know about, basically. And you're gonna abandon all of your lifetime training just to let this dude who's never received training in his life bring you to a level you could have never reached on your own is just like saying a lot about Oden, you know. And
I mean, maybe we should kind of move to Scabbards, but the last thing I want to say is Oden is not a D, as far as we know, which I highly doubt.
OD and Kozuki.
I know. Yeah, get out of here. But yeah, how can he be? And he's not a D, but he is the only character that you see in this entire fucking 1,000-chapter series that dies the same way a true D dies. He had the big smile on.
The big ass smile, bro.
That's literally the last thing you see of Oden is his smile, is his teeth as he's dead. And it's like, that's fucking, just amazing to have a character like this who basically embodies the will of D without being a D. Yeah. And that, he's so important to the story in so many ways. His being able to read the poneglyphs, write the ancient language. Yes. It's being passed down in his family. Yeah. Like, all that stuff is like super important. And I mean, it's Oda's just the Goda. What can I say? He's the GOAT, bro. Like, it's just all well done perfectly to me. Yeah. I can't believe anybody was mad about this flashback. Sure, I mean, maybe people would say it's long, but it's One Piece. 1,000 chapters. Everything's fucking long.
Yeah, everything's long. Like, Where are you new here?
I hope not, because we're at fucking chapter 955 when the fucking shit starts, or roughly. I don't know.
Them wiki guys.
Them wiki guys.
So the Scabbards, right? So who did you want to?
Well, I think we should start with the leader, because it's been the most fucking controversy around his latest feat, which is, you're an idiot if you think there's controversy around this, because he cuts Kaido's fucking burn blast, whatever the fuck, and splits it, which we see on Punk Hazard.
Yes,
fucking Kinemon.
Exactly. I mean, he's tandem attack. Yeah,
he's Foxfire Kinemon. Right. Okay, right away. Yeah. And he can generate fucking fire with his sword, and he can cut fire with his sword. And you see Smiley fucking is split into different fucking oozes or whatever, and they're all fucking highly flammable. Yeah. And fucking when Kinemon cuts it, it fucking splatter, cuts in half, whatever, splits it, but it explodes, and a fucking huge fucking explosion of fire comes at all of the fucking Straw Hats, and fucking, whatever the ones that are there, it's like Sanji and Nami's body, and Zoro, whatever, but he cuts the whole fucking fire then, and then fucking splits, and it's like,
and then Zoro was even like, you gotta teach me that.
And then what was also tight about that moment too is like, that's when he kind of says a little bit about like his goals. Like, he doesn't really reveal everything, but Zoro's like, yep, I'm fucking with you. I'm gonna follow you because I'm interested. Like, I'm compelled to know about a samurai story. Like, I need this, to, it's gonna
be good for my character, or just
be good for his character. Yeah, definitely. So, like, another couple cool feats is he uses one or two sword style very proficiently, and when he was cut up by Law and distributed across fucking, Punk Hazard. He's just a torso and fucking clashes pretty fucking evenly with Brook. Two sword styled fucking clash evenly as just a torso, which is literally jump off with an arm, and
that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Really big deal.
Because it really fucking obviously we know he has armament hockey and he has Ryu, and it's like we get that later, but he has strong observation hockey, because how else do you fucking know what's going on when you're just a torso? He ain't got a head, and even the legs somehow were talking, which was still weird. I don't really know how that happened, but
forgot about that.
The legs talked to
no, they were just farting. They were talking by farting. He was farting.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what. That's some Oda shit right there. But the legs, I guess, or the ass. He even states, like, I can feel aura. Like, that's how I know what's going on. Like, it's just stated right there. He's got observation hockey,
which we know is
right from the
observation
beginning.
hockey, and it's just their way of talking about it.
Yeah. And armament, you get to see him, Zoro, and it has to be, who else was on? So is it, let me see, did I write it down? Yeah, it was Kanjuro. Yeah, because Kanjuro's the only one on Dressrosa with him. Yeah. Those three are holding back Birdcage, and you see Birdcage easily slicing through metal. And so it's like they have to have armament-clad weapons to try to even hold back Birdcage.
Right.
So that was a pretty big feat there, for them, which you know, to me, I felt like Zoro should just be able to cut out a birdcage and leave whenever he
me
wants.
too.
But you know, they couldn't have that because Fujitora's in there too. Obviously, Fujitora should be able to cut through that shit and leave too, right?
Right.
You know, but you know, whatever, it's fine. But that's just those are pretty big feats, you know, for Kinemon, and he, you know, is the leader. He does show leadership quality, even though he's a gag character a lot of the time. Yeah. You know, especially with like it all went according to my plan type shit.
Yeah. What a scene.
So yeah, for sure. So yeah, I love that. But I
Who's
mean,
next? Ashura Doji.
Yeah. Go ahead with whatever one you
so
want.
So Ashura Doji. AKA Burger Fats Swordsman,
AKA Shutenmaro,
AKA
Shutenmaru,
AKA Monster Curry. So his introduction was super cool because like One Piece is something that you kind of forget. At least I do sometimes, that ridiculous looking characters can still be strong. So like when Ashura is introduced, or as Shutenmaru, and he literally just looks like a fucking like extra in some, you know, like literally, like I remember like seeing his character design and I was like, this dude isn't gonna be shit, you know what I'm saying? And then he goes fucking toe to toe with fucking Jack and gets the upper hand. I was like, okay, that's fucking awesome. And I thought that he was just like a regular, like, you know, random ass samurai, because this is still very early in Wano, and this is the first like formidable swordsman that we see in Wano. So I was like, okay, so this is what Wano is gonna be like. It's just gonna be a bunch of like, if this is a random ass swordsman, like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh my god, like what is this arc even going to be? And then you find out, no, this is a very important, very serious swordsman. You know what I mean? Like this is not an extra. You know what I mean? So I was like, holy shit.
He talk about, you know, his character design, his stature, what he looks like, you know, it blew me away. And he moves, it's not Soru, but he moves like Soru. Like he really like hot blitzed fucking Jack and just right away, just, you know, gave him smoke right away, and fucking even cuts and breaks one of his Shotel blades, like, and goes right through him and slashes. You know, it's like, that's a big feat. That's a big ass feat. So like, you know, and it's like, I mean, Ashura Doji's probably the strongest, you know, because he had the 20 years to fucking, you know, and obviously Kinemon's the leader. So it's like thematically and like within the narrative of the story, it's like it's going to be posed as Kinemon's the strongest. But it's like with feats given and just how like how the story, like
until we see more than Kinemon, I feel like Ashura might be stronger than him. Well,
and Ashura didn't fucking get time traveled, you know, so for them 20 years he was there holding down
in
fucking
the gym.
He's holding down Wano all the time, and that's why Wano, like and it was just like a really powerful scene when they finally find him and Inuyasha like squares up with him, and he's and Ashura's like, I don't give a fuck what you guys have to say to me. I'm not joining shit. I've been here holding down Wano for 20 years. All y'all left me to do this shit by myself. So fuck y'all. And if I gotta steal fucking food and bandit and try to fucking help everybody out and do shit my way, that's what I'm doing. And I don't give a fuck what any of y'all. I'm doing the best I can for the country, and none of you guys have any right to say anything to me, because I'm the only one who's been holding it down after all this time. So that just hit so hard, you know, like. Yeah, I loved that part, and it was really cool for Inuyasha too, because Inuyasha already fought Jack for 5 days. Him and Nekomamushi like tag team it, so like it's a little less impressive, but
it's night and day. Like during the day, Nekomamushi, or during the day, Inuyasha during the.
But
night,
they were like poison too. Like there was like poison
there
gas
was
in the air,
all
so they were
types
leaking.
of detriments. Yeah.
So like, you know, you can take that too and say, okay, you know, maybe Inuyasha and Nekomamushi are also just as strong as Ashura Doji. Like that would make all the sense. Like it does almost feel like those three are kind of the strongest, stronger than Kinemon, or I don't know. I mean Kawamatsu too, but he was in prison for like 13, 15 years, something of that time. Like it was a lot of time. But even still, like Inuyasha didn't have sword leg yet. He's on one leg fighting Ashura pretty much squared up, like evenly. So like that's fucking pretty huge, you know. I love that scene. Like those were some good. Yeah, it was even fairly well done in the anime. I'm probably like 20 episodes back, and like Wano, you know, gets super hyped up. Like Wano's gonna be different. Toei's about to make it way better, and it's like, sure, it's better, but it's not like it's like way. It's like we're not at fucking like, you know, Madhouse or Mappa type shit, right? You know,
because
like,
it's still the pacing issue. Like this shit
it's
looks
always gonna
pretty
be a
cool, but like.
The
shit is moving at a snail's pace. Yeah,
we're still gonna have one whole fucking minute, 60 seconds of ching 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 ching, swords hitting each other, and
then
like,
everyone in the scene reacting after the clash is over, and then going back into that same clash with like reused frames.
So yeah, like it's better, but like it did well. It did well in the anime at that part, and I don't know, maybe still 20 episodes back. I'm trying to catch up. It's just like, man, One Piece is a real hard anime to watch. Like,
I just don't care about that. Like, you know, what I'm
exactly.
saying? Like whenever,
I'm
just gonna read it, obviously, and then like whenever like my favorite scenes are in the anime, like, I'll go, all right, it's time to go peep that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not like trying to be current in the One Piece anime anymore. It's like,
and that's the correct philosophy to watching the One Piece anime is read the manga, watch fight scenes, whether you have to do it like YouTube is sometimes
only
good,
after
sometimes it's bad.
Only after the time skip though. Like watch everything pre-time skip.
Regardless
of if you are reading the manga.
And people hate on early One Piece, but that's like when the pacing was the best. It's like, sure, it's all warm up. We're at 1,000 chapters right now. You know, potentially a 1,500 chapter manga. You know, like probably at least 1,300 chapters. So it's like obviously the first 100 fucking episodes are gonna be like warm up. You know, but yeah, it's still shit, that is a golden age. That was a great time when I was catching up. We're watching all that shit back in the day. Over 10 years ago now. Like
right.
It's so long ago. Like when I was watching those episodes. But
I feel like Kinemon and Shutenmaru are like the two like primary swordsmen, and Denjiro. So we could probably finish the conversation with Denjiro for the sake of time, right? Because that's the last like real. And Kiku.
I mean, it's hard because it's like that's the thing. It's like, okay, Raiju's a ninja, right? Like I can go real quick. Like Raiju's a ninja, but when it was time to fight Kaido, he comes down with the one fucking sword, and then he has the two swords on his fucking throat, like the fucking Nam fucking attack on Goku back in the Dragon Ball. You know, he did the Nam joint on him with the two swords. You know, so that was really tight. I mean, Kawamatsu uses the fucking like God, I wrote it down. What is it called? It's called
Kawamatsu's got like the backhand like swordsman or sword
reverse grip.
Reverse grip style, which is fucking sick. I love that about him.
It's Shirasaya is what those swords are called. The with no
guard.
The hilt is
hilt's
all
wrapped
wood. It's
up with fucking
it's
wrapped up
with
bandages. Maybe it's not wrapped up with bandages, but yes, it is.
No, I'm pretty sure it's wood.
But the non-guarded ones are definitely for like concealing. It's like Sasuke's sword, which is literally just like a flat plank of wood that like opens up to a fucking like ninja sword, which is fucking sick. But
and we talked a little bit about Inuyasha, which he had a rapier at first, but then he's using a katana on Wano, so that's really fucking tight. And then he gets a sword leg, so now he's using Nitoryu.
He's got the rapier on the leg now. So now
there it is. And Nekomamushi is not a swordsman at all, so we can just clearly skip him.
But Kiku is cool to focus on real quick because I feel like this is my first trans swordsman. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is the first swordsman that I've seen personally that's transgendered, so like that's a really cool representation in that regard. And on top of that, they're a total fucking badass. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's a throwaway, like character. Like, the one trans character, that the one trans swordsman in the series isn't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. Oda's really good about that. But Okiku's fucking sick. She's got a bunch of fucking cold-blooded ass moments, just like two big ones, like the one in the prison when they're all like stancing up, you know what I'm saying? And like that's like a big moment for like everyone, but like that moment when they like proclaim like, no, I'm a female, like at heart, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh shit, that just blew this fucking scene like way the fuck open. I was like, that's fucking awesome. And then obviously versus Kanjuro was a really fucking big scene too for their character. But
really cool thing, a couple of cool, really quick things is the M.A.N.G.A mask she wears and her fucking samurai armor.
Yes, I was literally just about to say that. I'm glad that you kind of read my mind on that. But that fucking armor is so tight, man.
Yes, it's so tight. And sick. Her tightest dialogue is that she likens her katana to snow that remains in the spring. She says, when I cut you, these wounds will follow you to the afterlife. It's like, so fucking tight, bro. That's tight as fuck, bro.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. But yeah. Shit, who else we got? Well, we want to do Denjiro, but one thing I want to say about Kanjuro is that he has his fucking paintbrush is wrapped as a whole fucking katana hilt. And it does have the hilt and does have a guard way down, and he does hold it like a samurai sword at some times and uses it, like a katana. So that's really tight to have a weapon that's clearly not a bladed weapon at all that he's using the same way. So, in each way they are like swordsmen. Like even Nekomamushi, it was shown that he did kind of use a sword when he was like the little runt kid and like when he used to spar with fucking Inuyasha, but then he gets a fucking big like two side bladed fucking pole arm, and then he's got obviously now he's Barrett from Final Fantasy, got the gun arm. He's bucking out, it's super tight. But
Barrett with the gun arm, yes.
So you gotta that's super tight. But let's finish her off with
so
Kyoshiro slash Denjiro.
Kyoshiro slash Denjiro is cool. Kyoshiro was tight because back when he was or Denjiro is tight because back when he was just Kyoshiro and he had that clash with Zoro, and Zoro was like, hold on, something's different about this dude. I remember me, and I think you too were included, but like arguing with Eagle on the fucking like weekly Shonen Jump reviews, like this motherfucker ain't shit, bro. Just because he blocked a fucking like 1080-pound Phoenix or some shit or whatever number it was back then, like
720. It's a two sword style. 720.
Just because he blocked the 720-pound hoe, don't mean he that tight. You know what I'm saying? I was talking crazy, bro. I was like, this motherfucker ain't shit. Then we find out it's Kyoshiro, and it's like, okay, well, that's fucking awesome. And he was another one that stayed back in the 20 years, right? So
yes, and he holds it down in a different way. He is fucking Orochi's treasurer, which is so great because he is the fucking thief that runs around stealing and giving money and shit back to people.
Yes.
What is a smile? I fucking forgot what they call it, like smiling something. I don't really remember.
Oh, but, I can't remember.
He has the name of the person that does it, which that's just so tight. It's like I'm the treasurer for Orochi, yet I'm stealing this money and helping. He's like Robin Hood basically, right?
Yeah.
But that's awesome. And then he also precisely cuts the fucking blood bag under Hiyori's kimono without hurting her. That's a big deal. Showed high tier swordsmanship.
Yes, and it looked very like maybe it's more of a testament to their acting than it is his swordsmanship. But like in the moment, well, I guess when you find out that it was all planned, it kind of is a little bit less impactful. But just like knowing that it like was so in the moment, it was so like. Like I don't know, like imagine your nerves, and like you probably just assume that characters like these just don't have nerves because they're badass fucking swordsman characters in anime. But like I don't know, man, like the error, the room for error is so little in that situation, and like you just did everything you needed to do perfectly. Like that's a big deal as far as like cutting the blood bag but not hurting Hiyori. And then man, I'm trying to remember any other like swordsman like specific things related to Kyoshiro besides his clash with Zoro.
He cuts a big ship when they're raiding Onigashima.
Yeah, that is him. Yeah,
he cleanly cuts a ship. Yeah, that's
like
pretty
in half,
tight,
right? Yeah,
clean in half. Yep.
That's a big deal. Like period, dude. Like if you're cutting ships in half, like you're tight as fuck in One Piece. If you can cut ships in half, like we've only seen 3 characters do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like you're a big deal. We can assume more can obviously, but like. That's a rare thing to see in One Piece from a swordsman. So the fact that Zoro, Mihawk, and Denjiro are really the only ones that we've seen do that is a pretty big deal. But
I just had to go look up the name of what he's called for his Robin Hood persona is Witching Hour Boy.
Witching Hour Boy. I remember that. That was the name of a chapter. That was like a whole name of a chapter. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. So man, super cool, man. Scabbards, man, they're all really great characters. Scabbards are an incredible group of characters.
People hate on them a little bit because it's like, okay, we've known now Kinemon and fucking Momonosuke since Punk Hazard, which is like fucking, I don't know, 600, chapter 600. So it's like literally for the last 400 chapters, the Scabbards have been involved. And we're just like, some people are just like, man, like, are we just gonna like finish this plot point? But it's like, man, this is One Piece, man. Calm down. It's like we had all these like, like you had huge, like obviously huge arcs, then sure, even though they're along with the Straw Hat crew, it's like there is fucking huge things that are happening that are outside of the Scabbards. I mean, Dressrosa has little to do with the Scabbards, even though they had to get Kanjuro, and there's enough to do, but like so much of fucking Dressrosa has very little to do with the Scabbards, and even though they're along for the ride, it's two of them, 1.5 really. I mean, because Kanjuro's not there the whole time.
It's like, it's so stupid to me because it's just like, okay, it's like, how long have you been reading One Piece? It's like you're mad at the Scabbards because like they haven't really done anything or whatever your statement you're trying to make, and it's like, dude, like your real beef is that like all of these characters haven't had high tier 1v1 fights. Like that's why you're complaining. Like that's why you're like that. Like you're reading One Piece for the wrong reasons. If like all you care about is 1v1 fights for power scaling reasons, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I've said this, we've said this a million times across probably all of our shows now. You know what I'm saying? Like we've made this complaint, and it's just like, you should know better. You know what I'm saying? Like there are so many moving parts of the story. There's so much going on in the background. It's like, yes, it's a battle manga. There's plenty of battle inside of One Piece throughout this 1,000 chapter stretch that we're approaching here, and it's like, it's adventure first, and then comedy / battle second. Like there's so many different aspects of One Piece. It's like if you want only high choreographed fights, go watch Naruto. Like, and it's fine. Like it's great. Like I'm not gonna say that there's anything like, I mean, there is at least a little something wrong with it. Like it's like if you just only want to watch fucking choreographed fights, it's like just watch MMA. Like, why are you reading stories? Yeah, like what are you getting out of? That's a really good point. Fuck yeah. Anything? I mean, was there anything else you wanted to say about? I think this has been a great conversation. We're running a little bit long on time, but I didn't care because it's a swordsman shit. Dynamic duos back at it. We're gonna get in our bags. You know what I'm saying? But I think that will do it for Best Swordsman in Anime and Manga Part 2. And I know that we, kind of like went a little bit more unorthodox route. I feel like there are more like wildly popular swordsman characters that we still haven't touched on, but I mean, this wasn't Bleach episode. Like, we could just talk about fucking 20 Bleach characters if you want. Right. That's not really our thing. But exactly. But I feel like this conversation was great. If you enjoyed it, let us know. Slap a like on the video. Share it around. Share Project Manga around it to anybody that you guys think would be interested in conversations like these. We love having them. If you guys have any ideas for tie-in topics, or any ideas for just like new content in general, always feel free to chirp us, man. You can hit us up on Discord, Twitter, wherever you normally hang out on the internet. But thank you all so much for watching. Visit the link down in the description, of course. Once again, that's where you're going to see us on all of our individual social media accounts, online communities like Facebook, Discord, Twitter, what have you, as well as ways to consume the podcast outside of this video friendly medium that we have here on YouTube. You can also catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other audio only platforms inside of that family. And also down there, you're going to see links to support Project Manga if you'd feel so generous, including our Patreon, which is going to give you a bunch of perks and a bunch of tiers that you can subscribe to for a variety of different content, including early access to all of our content and additional manga reviews. So, but
hell yeah.
What a convo. We did it once again. Let us know how you felt about our picks. Let us know if you have any other picks that are in your top 5s, top 10s, top 20s, what have you. We'd love to talk to you about it. This is probably me and Kiko's favorite subject inside of anime and manga. So
yes, sir.
Holla at us, man. Absolutely. But we're gonna go ahead and sign off here. This has been an incredible episode of the Project Manga podcast inside of the Tangential Tie-In series. Wrapping up, I'm Noxie.
Peace, y'all. It's Kiko.
We'll catch y'all next time.